Here we go. All right. Well, hello. So I'd like to welcome you all. I'm Joshua with Compression Care, and this is our third and final Spotlight Educational Series of 2024. Yes, it's that time. We are closing out the year. So we will begin hosting these meetings again in January. But as you're all aware, November, December are the busiest months of the year in our industry. So we're pressing pause to focus on patient care. Once you watch your email for invitations for those January meetings, you can also check our website at compressioncare.com, as we will have updates, and the meeting links will be on there as the meetings resume in January. And before we get to Bryan's presentation, I want to tell you a little bit about Compression Care and our sister company, Pretty in Pink Boutique, which is based in Nashville, Tennessee. We have been in the business of helping patients with their compression needs and billing garments for 19 years. Compression Care is the national vision of the owner and founder, Pamela Ludwig. Pam started Pretty in Pink Boutique and Compression Care with the goal of helping patients get the care they need while never paying more than they have to. And at Compression Care, we strive to improve patients' lives by making high quality care accessible, affordable, and convenient no matter where they live. We only hire certified compression fitters as our case managers, and this ensures that if you have questions, there'll be a knowledgeable person helping you and your patient with their garment needs. For all new referrals or any questions, they can be emailed to referrals@compressioncare.com or fax to 615-807-3334. So a little bit of housekeeping. If you do have questions, we'd love for you to put them in the chat, because at the end of this, Bryan's going to have some time to actually answer your questions. So we're very excited to have Bryan Groleau on the call today. Bryan has been a lymphedema therapist since 2003, with experience in oncology lymphedema, primary lymphedema, vascular lymphedema, lymphatic filariasis, and wound care, which makes me feel like I haven't done very much. Throughout his career, Bryan has treated extensively in both outpatient and home care settings and managed lymphedema programs for multiple clinics and home health agencies. Currently, Bryan is the Director of Clinical Education for Medi USA and also serves on the Medi for Help medical missions projects for those in need of lymphedema intervention, education, and compression. Aside from all of those accolades, Bryan is a personal friend of mine, and I would consider him a guru of all things compression. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Bryan Groleau.
Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. Can we just say that, I've had a lot of fun. That's basically what all that means.
For sure, it sounds like.
I've been in the trenches and had a lot of patient care and learned a lot. Probably so more the hard way than anyway. That's how I like to learn, the hard way, like everybody, right?
For sure.
Probably. So thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here. And I have two new products to show you all today. We have expanded our reduction kit line, and I am very excited about it. And yeah, looking forward to jumping in and showing you this. So if we don't want to move the next slide, a little bit about Medi before I get going. For those of you that don't know, Medi is a German-based company. It's a family-owned company. And if you order a custom flat neck garment, it is going to be made in Germany. A lot of our products are made in Germany, and we've been around more than 75 years. So compression is our wheelhouse. And we have a mantra that is, I feel better. And, it's a statement that we make for our patients who are going to be wearing our products, but it's not just for them. It's also for you, because And it's for really anyone who's involved in making decisions and helping patients get the right compression. So this statement isn't just for the patient, it's for Josh. It's for everyone that Josh hires who does fittings. We want you to feel good in what you're recommending to the patients, good in what you're putting them in, and confident that it's going to work. So that's what we stand by. And in addition to that, next slide, we are committed to building quality programs, quality products, and that is something you're going to see today. Like the birth of these two reduction kit products is our commitment to quality products. When we see something that needs to happen, something that's a gap in what needs to be treated, we want to be responsive to that. If you haven't been to our educational programs, a masterclass, any of our webinars, we have a ton of them, and we're building new ones. So we are really committed to those. Check our website out if you can to see what we have to offer there. The other thing we're committed to is patients that are less fortunate and better quality of life. So if you go to the next slide, I'm going to show you a little bit about Medi for Health, which Josh mentioned to you that I'm a part of. This is a very nutshell version of it, but this is Medi's non-for-profit side. And this is something supported by Global Medi. And we're really committed to outreaches for patients with lymphedema. In the picture you're seeing here, this is images taken from Rwanda, where we treat and educate on treating in compression for podoconiosis. I'm involved in Haiti, which is more the lymphatic filariasis and the wound care side of things. And we also are part of Camp Watch Me, which is fitting custom garments for kids with primary lymphedema. So we have our hand in a lot of different outreaches and a lot of organizations to really help people get what they need. So if you want to know more about that sometime, please feel free to inquire about that. What we're talking about today is Circade. And I know that you're probably familiar with a lot of our Circade family products, right? The Graduate, the Profile, our nighttime products, and our Juxta Fit line, our Juxta Light line, and then we have a reduction kit line. And that reduction kit line is growing, and that's what we're talking about today. So next slide. So I like to ask everybody, what is reduction kit to you? Because I know what it is to me, and I'm about to show you what it is to me. To a lot of people, it's a bandage alternative, and that's fine. It's a good place to leave it. But for others, people like me, it's been a game changer in what I've done in the past. And these pictures that you're seeing right here, this is a patient of mine that I had in home health years ago when reduction kit was still a pretty new thing. As you can see, it's a severe patient, right? Stage 3, primary lymphedema with some venous disease mixed in. There were some open wounds. I did not bandage this patient. I used reduction kit, and if we move to the next slide, I'll show you what happened in just 2 months period of time. This patient had a dramatic change. And this is a really perfect story because, I gave him the tools. I showed him how to use the tool, but this is a patient that was very active in his own care. And he did not want his legs the way they were, the way you saw them in the previous slides, right? He wanted improved mobility. And so when you put a tool on someone that they can utilize, be involved in, it can be a game changer. And that's what it is to me. And here's another picture of the patient in his compression. I do realize that there's no compression on that right foot. I guess we jumped the gun on taking these images before we put that on. But I want you to just see the idea. We did do thigh compression for this patient. Again, probably took the photo a little early, but we did start off with a knee, just going to the knee. Very successful patient, very happy to have this success for him and changed his life. So commitment to better quality of life is something that we're committed to. And out of these experiences, we see that we want to add to it. The benefits of adjustability they can be huge, right? And what we've already talked about is independence, and boosting that adherence is a big deal for a lot of us, right? Sometimes we get stuck with patients that either can't do the self-bandaging or have a difficulty getting access to help. And so giving somebody something that can help them be independent can be a big help. The consistent compression is another thing that really comes from having hook and loop, or I'll just say the word Velcro, right? There's a lot you can do with Velcro. It's kind of endless. And if you've got a limb or a body part that changes size with compression, that compression is not going to be as much as it was when you first applied it. And if you've got something that you can just reapply compression with, or just adjust it on the spot, within seconds, you've brought consistent compression back to the game. And you can do that during the weekend. You can do that at night. It can really improve the effectiveness of what you're trying to do for a patient. It can actually sometimes expedite the results. So that's your food for thought and why we have reduction kit to begin with. Now let's talk about what we're really here to talk about, which is the new products: the reduction kit head and neck and the reduction kit vest. And I'm going to start with the head and neck. So what you're seeing here is the kit fully applied, fully customized. I already made this for the person here. And what I want to point out to you is that this is a fully customizable garment made to reduce lymphedema. So this is a treatment product. This is intended to be phase 1 treatment, right? You're trying to reduce swelling. Could this be used after for maintenance? Absolutely, it could. But it's intended to be a product that you use for reduction and for actual treatment to decongest. And the big name of the game is make it for decongestion, but make it so that the patient can utilize it and put it on. So let me show you more. I want to also introduce you to Lauren Meffin. She has been a very big help to me in the development of this product. I'll name drop some other people that helped along the way. Amy Huntsman was a big help in Indiana. Shelly Ryan out of St. Louis, and Brad Smith early on was also a lot of help too. But Lauren is my local gal. She's a lot of help, and she does a lot of the education for NLN when it comes to head and neck lymphedema. So she's out there a lot doing a lot of education. She shared this image for us to see because her patient walked in with the head and neck lymphedema kit on, and the patient was like, you know what, I don't care what it looks like. Does this help me? This is what I want. And the patient wears it out in public and just doesn't care. Not everyone does that, but she was very proud of this patient, and therefore I was too, because it's all about, for some people, like, if this helps me, this is what I want. And I think a lot of people really appreciate that this is compression to the neck without having to wrap their entire head, right? They can still breathe, they can still carry on. So that's a big plus for us. So what you're seeing here is the fact that we want to provide you the freedom to make what you need to make. There's a lot of cutting, but again, what I said about Velcro, right? You can do a lot with it. It's kind of endless. So we want you to have the freedom to make the compression you want to make. Don't be limited by the compression, by wrapping it around or not being able to leverage where you need to compress. But the other big thing is giving the freedom to the patient to have the independence to put it on, take it off, readjust, be comfortable. Next slide. It's going to involve you getting your hands dirty. And what I mean by that is you got to jump in, you got to cut, you've got to make the products. Here's everything that comes with the product. And what you're going to see here is the tech pad. This is a textured edema control pad. You can see it's got texture on the front of it. I'm going to explain this to you more in a little bit, but it comes with a large neck strap, which actually is just a wide neck strap that's going to help cover the surface of your neck. And then there's a smaller facial chin strap. It's not quite as wide. It's a little bit skinnier, and that's really to help along the jawline if needed. We have double-sided hook tabs. This is important because we want all of this to be so to speak, stuck together to itself, right? I want the tech pad to connect to the large neck strap. I want the facial strap to connect to the neck strap. I want it to all be basically pinned together so that it can be in one piece. So let's look at how this all goes together. You've got the tech pad, which is really the fundamental, I'd say the most important part of this entire kit. It's a textured surface, and that, as you can kind of see from this picture, it's got little bumps all over it. This is going to go directly against the edema. And it's made and lined with burr fabric. If you know what our profile line is, burr fabric is a fabric that is made to go directly against the skin, and it can actually have a cooling effect, right? When you're dealing with compression to the neck, you're talking about heat, right? So we want it to be comfortable for the patient, and the burr fabric is a perfect choice for this because it does have some cooling effect against the skin. So what you're going to notice about this is that it can be cut and trimmed to any shape, to any size you want. And your ability to shape and cut this is going to be dependent on how well this product does, right? So in other words, if you leave it really wide and you think about mobility in the neck, if it's so wide that the patient's chin is sneaking into it, you're not getting surface pressure. You're not getting surface contact. And the most important thing is that this stays in contact at all times. We're not trying to compress the life out of this swelling. This is not a limb, right? It's not a leg. We don't need 30 to 40 compression on the neck. What we want is this pad cut to a really good shape so that when there is mobility of the neck, it's staying against that. So you might find that you actually have to make it not as wide and bring it skinnier to fit. It all depends on what contour you're working with, right? Some people don't have any contour. It's filled in with edema, and you might not have to cut it as much as someone with a steeper jawline. You might find as the edema goes down, you have to trim it more. You should have the freedom to do that and progress this along as you need to. After that, you're going to have to fit the neck strap. The wide neck strap will always be part of the head and neck kit. You get that tech pad fit, and then you have to bring the neck pad to shape it. And the whole point of the neck pad is to get the surface area covered. And what happens is when you have this wide neck strap, it's too wide for the back of the neck. And what you're seeing here is pictures of me kind of tracing out the back of the strap so that when it goes to the back of the neck, it's skinnier in the back, but it flares out wide for the neck coverage. What you're not seeing here is something we just changed recently to the head and neck lymphedema kits, which I'm super pumped about, is we now have built-in cut lines for the neck strap so that you can kind of just have a guide to cut out with. You don't have to trace it out the way that I did here. You have guidelines in the strap, but you will always have to cut that back strap to different widths depending on what you need in the back of the neck. So it should really fit the back of the neck comfortably and really flare out to get the coverage you need for the lymphedema. The neck strap, go ahead to the next slide, is the neck strap. And that, well, also what you're seeing here are the hook tabs. So each strap has its own size hook tabs that go with it. And you're going to start to see some of the double-sided black Velcro used. We're going to be using this to connect the smaller strap to the back of the neck strap so that everything can be put together in one piece. I don't think I had pictures of these white Velcro, what I call Velcro stays. I like to call them Velcro locks. I use these to lock up the garment. And you can see in the picture here, we're putting them on the Velcro and kind of securing the Velcro to the garment. The Velcro is already secured in and of itself, but when you put these like locks in place, it makes it really hard for the patient to get them off. So the patient will know not to take them off from the garment altogether. Here's how you kind of put it together. And again, with a double-sided hook, the black ones, the black double-sided hook tabs, I want the tech pad to connect to the neck strap. I want the face strap to connect to the neck strap. I want it to all be pieced together into one piece like you're seeing there in the third picture. And then from there, you'll see in the next slide how the progression of this goes. Oof, this is the final picture. Shoot, this was one of that we had a lot of different pictures of. So I can't show you that progression. So let me explain this to you. There's some other pictures that were behind this picture. My apologies. What happens is patient gets it, it's one piece, they look in the mirror and they bring it on like a scarf, and they look in that mirror and they can pull it around, get it in place, and then approximate the other side. And from there, they just pull the straps around, they're looking in the mirror, and they're approximating the straps to exactly what you see here. In this particular picture, you'll see I've cut cutouts in the ear. And you sometimes have to do that, sometimes you don't. All these straps are made on an arc, right? They all have a curve. And most of the time you're going to use them rainbow style, what I call rainbow style. Sometimes you can use them in the smile, right? In the smile shape. In this patient, the bottom strap is always done with the rainbow, or should I say the neck strap is always done with the rainbow. But this chin strap I did in a smile. And that's because I wanted higher coverage along the jaw. When I do that, it means I have to cut out the ears. But in other cases, I don't, because I might use that as a rainbow and it still contours really nicely against the jawline, and you don't have to cut the ears out. So it all depends on the shape you're working with and the way in which you want to use these curved straps. Let's go to the next slide. And this is just kind of reviewing everything, making sure you really customize that pad really well, cut that thing down to the shape you need. Don't be afraid of it. Make sure you got that full coverage. I'd rather have too small of a pad than too big of a pad, because at least if you have a small pad, you know it's getting coverage. And if you're not getting full coverage, you're getting coverage somewhere. If it's too big, you might lose coverage altogether. And these straps, the importance of it, and you can see in the bottom middle picture just how nicely this is contoured in the back, but we keep that width in the front. And the whole point of these straps is just to make sure we are holding that tech pad in a good place. This is the last picture of the head and neck before we get into the vest. And I wanted to show you, this is a patient that was fit. And the day one of fitting, you can kind of see in the top right picture, this was fit decently. It wasn't great. You can kind of see that bottom neck strap looks a little bit loose. We didn't have full engagement of the tech pad. Second fitting, we went in and we worked with the therapist and the patient. The patient said it just didn't quite get to the neck all the way. We made some adjustments to the pad, and you can see in the bottom middle and the bottom right, look at how much contact and engagement we have in the tech pad. That was when this turned into from a bandage alternative to a game changer for this patient, all in that padding. So that's really the gist of the head and neck. You're going to find that a lot of these themes run right into the vest, and a lot of these themes run right into all reduction kit for that matter. So Josh, let's move to the vest and chat about that. All right, keep on going. Perfect. So this product, I can tell you right now, there have been some fittings that I've done with this that have been life-changing events for some patients. You got to think, when you have a midline compression product, what are you treating? What are you trying to address? Chest wall swelling, under the axilla swelling, breast swelling. The patients that have breast swelling have a really hard time finding compression that will reduce them. They find maintenance products, they got to get them custom made, but they don't have something to reduce. It's a problem. That's a gap in their treatment. And this, I have fit this to some patients, and after fitting them, in tears, because, oh my God, do they like wearing this big vest on them? Maybe not necessarily, but when they have that swelling that they have not been able to address, when they've got fibrosis, it's so rock hard that they can't get it softened. This turns into a big quality of life changer. And I've seen the impact of that. So once again, completely customizable. We want you to target. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Josh. Completely target the areas you need to target without holding back. Again, leverage is always an issue when you're talking about the neck and the trunk, right? And you try to wrap around that, you're leveraging from the back. With this, you can leverage from the front. Everything, once again, fastens in the front so that the patient can see what they're doing. They can look in a mirror and have a good grasp on what they're trying to do. So same rules apply. Target areas that you need to compress. You can really target really isolated areas. and independence of that patient to have the freedom to wear this when they need to and adjust it as needed. Here's what's in the kit. You've got a huge back panel, and then you've got two side panels, a right and a left panel, and those will attach to the main panel. You also have a fleck pad. Again, the foam product in this is different than the head and neck, but nonetheless super important. This is our flat localized edema control pad. And this is a really vital part to this. And I'll be honest, you can fit this product really well, get really good compression without the pad. But when you do finally go to the last step of putting the fleck pad in, you're bringing continuity to your compression, and it gives compression much better to a larger area. You can also make it pinpointed though. If you're really trying to target the breast, then you can cut a breast size out with this foam and really target that compression. Same with the under the axilla. If you need to make it so that it goes over the breast and along to the axilla, you get to cut that shape out, make it exactly what you need. Again, get those hands dirty. You're gonna have to cut this. You're gonna have to dig into it. Here's my rule of thumb of this, right? First time you're timid. Second time you're getting the hang of it. Third time it's like, okay, I got this. And by the fourth time you do it, you're good to go. Maybe that's not everybody, and maybe some people get it the first time, but you've got to get your hands dirty. You've got to jump in there and make what you've always wanted to make for these patients, right? And the way you're going to do that, I've kind of got the directions kind of out here. You have to measure the largest part of the chest or the bust, and then you have to measure the true waist. And you've got 3 lines on the reduction kit vest that you're going to be marking, but you really only need 2 measurements. The very top line gets marked with the biggest chest, and then the other 2 lines bottom are both the waistline. So, and then you can attach the right and left panel accordingly to what those measurements are, and you'll cut off the excess of the material depending on how far in you have to fit those right and left panels. And you can see in the third bottom picture, that's the excess material being cut off. Next slide. Here's the idea, right? Now you're seeing this product getting fit to the patient. Remember this, the measurements are a ballpark. They're to get you in the ballpark. They don't have to be exact. If you measure a chest at 95 centimeters and you put it down there as 94 or 96, that's not a big deal. You're trying to get the product in the ballpark to get put on the patient. Because in this product, a huge majority of the adjustments you're making are on the patient. And you can see that here, right? You're going to fit this to the patient. You can see in the third picture, you approximate the straps, you get it, but then you're going to turn the patient and you're going to look to see what can be tightened up. And you'll end up really tightening the middle, the right and left panels, and tightening them on the patient. And that's when this really becomes a really big game changer in how you fit it. If you just rely on the measurements alone, you'll get a decent fit. But when you adjust this on the patient and you see all the different areas that you can that allow you to adjust in different spots, it creates really targeted compression. And once again, showing you that we're adjusting this on the patient. Look how much we cut off. When you look at the first picture to the last picture going in the series here, if we had left this long, it would have rolled up at the bottom. We wanted to give a hug to under the axilla. We wanted to compress the breast also and do that well. And in order to do that, less is more. You've heard that before, right? So you cut off quite a bit. You might not cut all of it off like this every time, but for this fit, look at how well we've got contoured compression to this patient. And if you look at that last picture to the bottom right, remember that's the panel that connected to the back. Those can still be adjusted. So if the patient swelling goes down, you can back that Velcro up even more. So there's a lot of ways you can snug this up on the patient. You really measure one time and that's it. Everything else gets adjusted on the patient. What you're not seeing here yet is even though you've got a great fit, you have not put the fleck foam in yet. And that can really be the game changer. Here's some more areas of adjustment under the axilla. There's even a cut line under there if you needed to cut some of that out. I recommend adjusting the strap like you see in the bottom right picture. If it's cutting up into the axilla, into the armpit, actually you start by loosening these straps and bringing it down some before you just snip out from under the axilla. You'll notice there's just a lot of areas where you can cut, snip, adjust, tighten, loosen, whatever you need to do. Now you're starting to see the foam, right? And in this particular case, we cut something out for under the axilla, and we cut that shape out according to what we needed. And this also provided comfort under the axilla, right? If it still tends to want to cut in, put some foam in there. If you need to have that specialized foam padding over the breast, then you can do that. So this foam, we cut it pretty small for this. It really targeted that compression even more and gave more continuity to the area. But a lot of times you're seeing people leaving this bigger, covering bigger spaces. Sky's the limit, really and truly. And then, of course, donning. Here are the series of how that goes. You patient should be in a mirror, like putting on a vest or a jacket. Take that thing, put it on. Everything is connected. We want to lock it up in place with those white Velcro stays. And then the patient puts it on. They can sneak that foam in, approximate it, and adjust as needed to make it comfortable. And they know how they want it to feel. They can feel that compression when it's put in the right place. The sizing for this, so the head and neck is just one size. One size fits all. You have to make it fit. For the reduction kit vest, there are really two sizes that it comes in. It comes in a large, can't really read this, but a small and a large. Really what it comes down to is you're taking the measurements around, like I showed you in the beginning, around the breast and around the waist, and those will fall into a series of measurements here, or in this scale here. And wherever those measurements land is going to tell you what size you need. But we have two different lengths. So you could be a really long, or you could be a standard. And there are people that really need that longer compression. So keep that in mind. And there you go. So that is the vest. And then only one more thing I want to show you today, and that is a little bit more about these two foams. Just keep going, keep on going. So we talked about the tech pad, and this comes standard with the head and neck kit, but I want you all to also know that we sell it separately in a 2-pack. So if you decided, hey, I think I actually need this for my vest, you could do that. Or, you know what, this would really work well for my lower leg. You can use it anywhere. This is a discovery we made. We made this for the head and neck, but it's like, wait, we could be using this everywhere. So we have made it for a 2-pack, and you can totally buy it separately. You don't have to use it with the reduction kit. If you're bandaging, use it under bandages, no problem. Use it with anything. If you fit somebody to a juxta fit, and this is in their maintenance phase, and they just have really firm fibrosis that over time you want to continue to address, you could do that. And same for the other foam, which is in the next slide here. We sell this in 2-packs as well. If you need to cover more area, if you don't need texture, but you need more coverage. I know a lot of people use gray foam to use under their compression. You could use this as well. I would say it's not quite as stiff as your gray foam. It's a little bit more open cell. But it contours really well. And I still use that word, continuity. It just provides good continuity of compression. So that is everything for these two new products. So
that's awesome.
Sure, you got some questions.
Yeah, actually, we did get some questions coming in here. This is an interesting one, and it may be both of us answering this, but is the fitting and cutting of the reduction kit the responsibility of the therapist or the DME provider? It looks like, I mean, from my point of view on this, we can't do it as compression care because we don't have local fitters. But I'm assuming that if you had a local HME in place that you were using for billing these garments, that what are you seeing, Bryan? Are you seeing that there are a lot of HMEs out there that are doing the cutting on this, that are on the local level, or is this mainly being done in clinic?
I would say this is a clinician product. This is, remember, for the decongestive phase. So if you bandage the patient, the HME doesn't do the bandaging, you do the bandaging. And this is the exact same thing. It's just a different tool that you're using. So I encourage the clinicians to dig into this. Could an HME do it? I mean, sure, they could, but this is such a therapeutic product and it requires such intention on what you're doing and trying to target that I kind of don't recommend that. I recommend it's to be a therapist.
And I think the concern there is that it might be non-billable time for the physical therapist to do that, but you might be able to charge that as manual, the same as you could for bandaging. Is that, do you know on that? I know
I'm going to leave that alone for the most part, except to
Yeah.
say that this is a bandaging tool, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of where I would go with it.
Yeah.
That opens a whole can of other
questions. It really does. And to address these questions a little bit more, and this is why I said maybe both of us would have to jump in because this was two different people that kind of chatting in the way. But I wanted to mention that we are going to have, we are going to have another spotlight education meeting where we're going to have a guest on that is going to be talking about, and this is probably going to be months away. It's going to be first quarter, second quarter, but we are in talks right now to have somebody coming on that's going to be talking about billing from a PT's perspective on time. And so that will be something that we can address a little bit more there. But you're right, it gets a little sticky when you start getting into what do we bill our time for. As and Pam would say, as a DME provider, we do not cut and fit the reduction kits. It's a therapy product, and so it's standard that the therapists are doing that. So we got a couple of questions that came in here. Hopefully that answered everything right for you. If you're not, shoot me an email and we'll kind of dig into it a little bit more on those. How does this stay on a patient with a pot belly? And the concern is that it would ride up, and it may have been answered, and you might have gotten the answer out of that when you said you were cutting it up, but if you want to address that a little bit more.
That's exactly right. And I've done that fitting, and it's not an easy fitting, but you're sticking with the less is more thing. What are you really trying to accomplish? And you end up cutting quite a bit of it off because you're really trying to get the hug in the chest portion. And a lot of that extra length can get in your way. So if you don't need it, don't keep it. That's really important. And don't forget that you don't have to accomplish everything at once. If you're trying to get something open under the axilla, for instance, you get good coverage under there. You don't have as good a coverage maybe to the breast spot yet. You could progress it that way, or vice versa, right? You focus on getting a functional fit for patients that have odd contours, for instance, and don't focus on trying to get all of it done at once, right? That's kind of my suggestion, but you'll find that less is truly more in this. And don't be afraid to use that Velcro, and don't be afraid to use, the leftover pieces to anchor sometimes, whatever you've got to do, you've got to do. And if you can get creative enough to place that Velcro where you need to, above and beyond what the directions are telling you to do, then you need to do that. That's my suggestion. The more experience you have with it, the better.
Yeah, I mean, I found that too with working with the reduction kits in the past, that that's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but you get there. I did have a question that came in that said, would Medi provide face-to-face training for all products on how to cut? Because they're afraid to ruin that garment, and this is something that I dealt with too with fitting those reduction kits. Is that Medi's going to train you for sure. Medi, I'll just steal that one from you, Bryan. Sorry, but yeah, they will. They'll definitely get out there and train you. And if you need to, because I know the therapist that asked this, I know this therapist, and you're welcome to shoot me an email, or any of you out there, shoot me an email. And if you need me to connect you with the local Medi rep, I'll be happy to do that. They'll be happy to do that. I know they can do virtual. I know they can do face to face. So we can definitely do that. And I also know that Medi will back up the garments. So if you do something completely crazy and it ruins the garment, don't be afraid of it. They'll make it work for you.
Can I add a few things to that?
Please, absolutely.
Everything you just said, it's great. Thank you. I want you all to know that there's 3 different ways of getting support for this. Your local rep, if you live in an area where there's a local rep, knows how to fit this. So that's your step 1, and they can, try to catch them when they're in your area. Sometimes they have their regional education manager with them. So we have a team of educators, and we all live in different areas of the country, and we travel different areas of the country. And we come to each area usually once, sometimes twice a quarter. So that's another opportunity. But there are also people that don't live in a place where there's a local physical person in their area, and we have an inside sales team that can support you, and they have an understanding of this too. But all those people are going to reach out to the education team if help is needed. And that leads me to the last thing that we offer at Medi, which is kind of new in the last year, maybe a little bit more than that now. We have a virtual clinic. So that means that one of the educators, everyone takes a turn. So like right now, if you needed support with someone, there's an educator that's sitting in front of their desk, in front of their computer, at their home, servicing and supporting clinicians with the needs that they have. Sometimes it's custom flat knits. Sometimes it's support on what product to help us choose. Sometimes it's reduction kit. Sometimes it's head and neck or vest. Here's what the advice I give you though. If this is your first time, you've never touched this product before, probably a virtual clinic appointment isn't going to help you that much. It could help you a little bit. It's better than nothing, but I wouldn't expect to get that patient fit totally right. Your best bet is to get that local boots on the ground support, get your hands a little bit dirty. And then if you continue to need support after that, after you're a little bit familiar with the product, you've had some experience with it, the virtual support is going to make way more sense for you. Not that I don't want to give anyone virtual support if it's their first time around, but I just want you to understand there'll be limitations to what we can help you with in that particular sense. But
it's always good to do it face to face, I think, as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys have the reps out there, you have the educators out there. If you can do it face to face, I think it's a good thing. Yeah. So, I'm read this question earlier, and then I got another question that's popped up. What is a DME? Because I just said DME provider. It's a durable medical equipment provider. Basically, it's what we do. It's the what we do in billing for the garments, but it's also in your local level. It's the people that have the wheelchairs and the stores that are out there that patients can go to. That is what durable medical equipment provider is. So, and another comment that. A really great Medi rep once told us to always use the long in a customizable garment because you can always cut it down if you need. So if you're on that fence and you're like, it's right between that long and short, maybe use the long because you can cut it back. What do you think on these? Yeah, please add to it.
So a really great Medi rep probably once told you to always order a wide.
Long. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. The reduction kit vest, I don't recommend that. I recommend take your 2 measurements, get the size that you need. In this particular product, less is more.
Less is more.
You don't want to mess with all that extra fabric on this product. For the legs, yeah, give me as much material as you can get me. But then I can use the scraps for something else.
Right.
Not the case for sure. I don't recommend that same strategy.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, that makes sense, and I was kind of wondering that myself too because I've always said that too. It's like, go ahead and get it a little bit longer. Go ahead and get the wide for sure. But another question that we've got here is there coverage from the LTA for head and neck and trunk? And I'll kind of field that one too. Is that we can definitely bill these. Each insurance is a little different, but if you're looking at LTA only, they're nighttime garments that this vest can count as a nighttime garment. And so then with the nighttime rules there, it's 2 every 2 years, which is very vague as whether it's 1 every 1 year or just 2 every 2 years. But right now, the rule out there is 2 every 2 years. So that looks to be like 1 every year. So it shouldn't be a problem. Now, the head and neck is a daytime garment and looks to be billable. It's 3 every 6 months. So it should be fine. One other thing, do the lock Velcro pads. I think you answered it, but I want to make sure. Do the lock Velcro pads come with the kit? The little white tabs, they do come in the kit as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then because we had to shrink the presentation a little bit, we took those pictures out. Would it be possible for you to send those pictures to me so that I can email them out to the therapist if they want to see those pictures, that progression of that head and neck kit going on?
Yeah. In fact, those pictures are in every one of our directions for use that come with the product.
Perfect.
So if you order a product, you've got those pictures.
You've got the pictures. Okay, that makes it easier. So
I like to have that kind of continuity, Josh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for keeping it easy. So yeah, that makes it really easy. So okay, so here's an interesting one. Based on someone she was working with advice, she ordered a medium vest for a patient with a very large chest, but a tiny waist. It was way too big for her. Any suggestions on trying to get her a small vest, a smaller size vest? I don't know. This may be pertaining just to can they trade it out? It also may pertain to how do they adjust it to make that one work if a patient. I think it brings up a good point. If you have a large upper and a small lower, what do you do?
It sounds like this person might have had some experience with it already, and something we could probably maybe get you a virtual appointment set up with one of our educators. That way we can kind of figure out, it's hard to figure out, exactly what went wrong, but yeah, maybe you do need a different size and we can help you with that. Or maybe there's some fitting techniques that we can show you. So can we look to set up a virtual meeting for that person?
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll be okay, but I'll shoot you an email offline here and just see, and then I can connect you guys together. So that'll be easy. I've gotten 2 questions that are kind of coming up about the same. I don't know if it's okay. She said yes, definitely. I'm going to connect y'all. So can we get an email of the 3 ways to get support from Medi? I think that'd be a great little follow-up email for everybody. Yes, we'll get that out to you guys. The 3 ways of support. And then how do they access the Medi virtual clinic?
Well, there's a few ways to do that. You can reach out to your local rep, and your local rep can kind of either try to help you or they can connect you to our virtual desk. I recommend first going to your local rep and your regular educator, because they know you, they know your situation. A lot of times that's the best support you're going to get. If you want to access the virtual clinic directly, you can email to virtualclinic@mediusa.com. They might not know who you are, and they might want to reach out to your local rep just the same, but nonetheless, you can definitely use that email to reach out and say, hey, I got a question. Do you mind helping me out? We can do that.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing to just send out to everybody. So we put something together and get that sent out so that everybody has that too. And
so also keep in mind that, if you reach out and you need an appointment 10 minutes from now, chances are that slot's already been booked. So you try to, the further out you can make an appointment. If you know your patient's, what's today, Wednesday, your patient's coming Friday or next Monday, the further you can look ahead and get something scheduled is the better.
Good to know. It's good to know. Yeah, for sure. That is awesome. I don't see anything else popping up for new questions. If anybody has anything else, you can drop them in here while I'm making these last few comments. But, uh, first, I want to thank Bryan. Thank you, Bryan, for being out here and doing this. I really enjoyed it. I think you did a great job.
Thanks.
Pat yourself on the back there.
Appreciate it,
But
Josh.
yeah, no problem. But I also want to thank everybody for attending the series. And we really appreciate all these questions. I hope you all are as excited as we are about what we can do with these products. And you can find more information about us and the next educational series again at compressioncare.com. And we are recording this, so we will be able to post this video on our website, so it will be there as well. And then there's a pretty nice little banner that'll take you right over to it, so it should be easy to find at compressioncare.com. But other than that, we will see you all back in January and enjoy the next few months of craziness.
Yeah. Happy holidays, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's that time already, man. I'm kind of surprised. It's happened fast. This year's gone by. So I really do appreciate everybody, and everybody saying thank you both, Josh and Bryan. So we appreciate you guys too. Thanks so much.